Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're doing something a little different, and honestly, it is absolutely fascinating. We are breaking down a chilling paranormal case study to look at the exact anatomy of a haunting. We're going to trace the whole thing from those initial whispered campus rumors all the way to a full-blown multi-night scientific investigation. So if you're into seeing what happens when ancient folklore completely collides with modern pseudoscience, you are definitely in the right place. Let's get right into it.
Picture this. It's exactly midnight. The entire college campus is completely pitch black. We're standing right outside these heavy, sealed doors of a rotting library on the third floor. Just imagine, the second those doors creak open, you're hit with this incredibly heavy, damp smell of decaying paper and dead air. This right here, this is our ground zero.
Case File 01, The Forbidden Third Floor.
You know how every college has that one rumor? Well, our story starts with a huge conflict of mindsets. For years, the senior students passed down this inherited panic. The rule was simple. Never, ever go near the third floor library. Not during the day, and definitely not at night. There was no official warning board, just pure passed-down fear. But a student named Abba saw it entirely differently. Abba was actually raised by his grandfather, who was a village tantric and occult practitioner, so he had this really grounded curiosity about the supernatural. His logic was basically, fear doesn't change the truth, and not every shadow is a ghost. He figured if there's a spirit, there's a reason for it being there.
Which brings us to Case File 02, the principal's warning.
Looking for some actual answers, Abai and his friends realize they need to go straight to the top. They confront the college principal, and when they do, they uncover this incredibly dark, closely guarded secret that the administration has been sitting on. It turns out that library has been locked for exactly 12 years. 12 years ago, a junior librarian named Shekhar was working the night shift. The very next morning, they found him completely unconscious inside the library. His eyes were wide open in absolute terror, and he was utterly mute. It literally took weeks for Shekhar to recover his voice, and when he finally spoke, he just said, "She watches me while I read." I mean, try to imagine the sheer sensory terror of that moment. He muttered those words, immediately quit his job, and fled the campus forever. It was right after that unexplainable trauma that the administration just slammed the door shut and sealed the whole place. Naturally, the principal warns the students that messing with this room is going to unleash total chaos.
And that leads us to Case File 03, the 3-night investigation. Defying the principal's strict warning, because of course they do, the students secretly sneak in Dr. Siddharth, who is a professional paranormal investigator. This is the moment our story transitions from a spooky campfire myth into a highly structured, pseudo-scientific expedition. To really grasp what they were walking into, we have to look at the gear they brought into the dark. It's this fascinating mix of tools. On one hand, you've got modern tech, EMF meters to pick up electromagnetic fields, thermal sensors hunting for temperature drops, digital recorders for audio, and night vision cameras. But on the other hand, they brought traditional grounding tools, candles and salt. They were essentially trying to bridge the gap between hard science and the supernatural.
The absolutely crucial takeaway here is how fast and how terrifyingly things escalated over just 3 nights. On night 1, the moment they flip on the EMF meter, it just spikes wildly out of control. The lights flicker and their brand new flashlights instantly die. The entity is immediately reacting to them. By night 2, it gets physical. Books literally start flying off the shelves on their own. The students watch their phone batteries drain from 20% to absolute zero in minutes. The entity is actually absorbing their electronic energy to manifest. Oh, and they also catch whispers on the digital recorder. Then night 3, they walk into pure chaos. Heavy furniture has been destroyed and thrown across the room. There's a drastic, bone-chilling drop in temperature. At this point, the spirit isn't just hanging around anymore. It's highly aggressive, and they are forced to completely abandon the room.
Case File 04, The Haunting Spreads.
Here's the terrifying part. By opening that sealed door and interacting with whatever was inside, the investigators accidentally broke the entity's confinement. It wasn't just stuck in a locked room anymore. Suddenly, bizarre supernatural stuff starts hijacking the daily lives of the rest of the students. People start hearing a girl crying in the dead of night. Unexplained shadows are standing in the hostel windows. Heavy footsteps echo in empty washrooms. Students even report feeling this heavy, unseen presence sitting right next to them on the back benches in class. The whole campus goes into full-blown panic mode.
Which brings us to our final act, Case File 05, A Spirit's Final Justice.
So the administration is furious, the campus is terrified, and Apai and his crew are facing imminent expulsion. The team realizes that technology can detect the spirit all day long, but it can't actually stop it. This is where we pivot from modern technological failure to ancient occult intervention. Dr. Siddharth calls in Satyadev Baba, a highly experienced tantric. The second Baba steps onto the campus, he instantly senses something the machines entirely missed. He tells them that the freezing temperatures and the violent EMF spikes aren't coming from mindless evil. They are born of deep, deep, unresolved anger.
The team takes Baba up to the library. He draws a salt line, lights some candles, and begins chanting these ancient Sanskrit mantras. Suddenly, the air in the room gets incredibly heavy, and Dr. Siddharth's digital recorder picks up this crystal clear, tragic voice. It just says, "I was bound here." The spirit was finally speaking to them.
And guys, this is the heartbreaking reality of this whole case. For 20 years, the official story was a total cover-up. The college claimed a librarian had taken her own life, but the truth, spoken right into that digital recorder, was that she was brutally murdered after complaining about a corrupt professor. They silenced her, they staged the scene, and worst of all, she was completely denied her proper final religious rites. Her soul had been literally trapped in the exact room where the injustice happened.
To fix this, Baba has to perform an intense liberation ritual. First, he draws a salt boundary to contain the spiritual energy. Second, he builds a havan, a sacred fire ritual at exactly 2:30 in the morning, right in the center of the library. Third, and this is probably the most crucial part, he speaks the spirit's true name out loud to acknowledge her identity and her pain. And fourth, he offers new clothes and pure water. This grants her the dignity in death that she was so horribly denied in life. Through this ancient ritual, Baba finally delivered the justice and peace she'd been waiting 2 decades for. And you know what's crazy? Right after he finished, the EMF meter went completely, permanently silent.
We're gonna wrap up this explainer today with a thought that's probably gonna stick with you. Thanks to his grandfather's wisdom, Abe learned that ghosts aren't always just born out of fear. A lot of times they are born of unresolved injustice. Sometimes a haunting is quite literally just a cry for the truth. So it kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? What secrets might be buried in the walls around you right now? Thanks so much for joining me on this case study, and keep seeking the truth behind the shadows.